Welcome back, collectors, to Packing the Gathering. It is October, and in my house, that means Halloween is in full swing. We got lawn decorations up. The kids are looking at their costumes for the year, and it means that September has closed. So for Magic, that means I've bought everything that I was going to buy. I've traded, and everything has been received, and I'm ready to crack it all open and add it to the collection. So in this video, I'm going to do just that. We're going to rip into the new stuff and look at one or two things from the vault. Stay tuned. All right, so this video is a little bit for myself. I wanted to catalog the things that I'm picking up each month just to kind of show off what are the cool stuff that I'm getting and what's going towards sets and what's going towards decks and all those types of things. So in this series, I'm just showing off last month's acquired cards. In this particular case, I give myself a $150 budget. That's got to cover anything for my personal collection, you know, deck boxes, sleeves, individual cards for sets or for the decks and whatnot. So all I'm going to do here is show the Card Sphere stuff that I have received in the month of September, and then my TCG purchase that I made, basically at the early end of the month, and I almost didn't make it here, but the last one finally came in. So I'm very interested to hear what you are collecting. So in the comments below, please let me know, what is it that you found this month? Was it deck stuff? Was it set collecting? Was it just cheering out a favorite deck with some really awesome versions of cards that you just love? I'm going to show off one or two things from my personal vault first, actually, and the reason will kind of be shown later in the video. So this binder I pulled from the vault is, hopefully that's center, my Four Horsemen. And it's a work in progress. It is not done. The Dark is complete, and Antiquities is complete. We're working on Legends, and you know, maybe one day I'll get Arabian Nights. But I got a few cards just from when I collect, when I purchase other people's collections and I try to sell off some things. Sometimes I get a gem or two, and that's, you know, this is where they end up. So looking at this particular binder, I am looking for the Antiquities set. And I just wanted to show off one particular card. And that is Urza's Avenger. So why this? It's not an overly amazing card. It is 6 casting cost artifact creature, 0, and Avenger loses -1/-1 and gains 1 of your choice of flying, banding, first strike, or trample until the end of turn. Attribute losses and ability gains are cumulative. Don't you love the way that they wrote the rules text back in the day? It is a 4/4. The flavor text is, unable to settle on just one design, Urza decided to create one versatile being. So why this card, right? It's the art. Yep. I haven't always been an art guy, but this one really spoke to me back in the day. So, you know, I grew up before I was actually buying Magic in the 90s. In the 80s, and so you get all the fantasy and you get all the D&D and the art that came out of that. And one of the things that really struck me as the most world building or fantasy piece that really kind of brought me into it was the idea of the design, right? The Leonardo da Vinci designs, right, applied to a fantasy, in this case probably some sort of a golem or whatnot. But how would these wizards or these planeswalkers be finding or creating these magic items, specifically artifacts here? And, you know, there had to have been some sort of process, right? And so my thought was, this just illustrated that Urza was creating from scratch. And I'm actually reading through the books right now, and I'm getting a bit of that nostalgia back with it. But I wanted to show off this one because it was the earliest representation of that style of art, a schematic. So if you know what came out recently, then you might know where I'm going with this. But anyways, this is the Antiquity set. This is one of my favorite cards out of it. Not for power, not for anything that it particularly does, but just because the art struck me early on in collecting. So anyways, moving on. What did I get this month? Okay, I'm going to leave the TCG for last. We're going to start with the Card Sphere, and some of these are going to build on last week's. But in the first one, we have 2 cards in here, and as you can see, Abiance is the one from Weatherlight, because I am putting together that set. Of course, they didn't give me a tab to get the... Oh boy, this one's really on there too. If you ever send cards, do not just put tape over top of a top loader. Give it a tab, give it something that the person can grab onto. Fold that piece of tape first. I really don't want to cut that. I want to take that off. But I also, man, if this takes me like 10 minutes to do, I'll definitely fast forward the video because nobody wants to see this crap. But it is a pain in the butt. So, public service announcement. Please help brother out. Oh man, that's just one of the worst ones yet. Okay, so I don't want to ruin the cards, but I also slice it. There we go. What is card number 2? All right, so here we have 2 cards. All right, we have Ambience and People of the Woods from the Dark. So we know that I'm actively working on the Weatherlight set, and I can actually show that if I need to here. I'll just put that in there for now. Grab another one for People of the Woods here. I'm working on a second dark set, and I'm only doing that because I had a bunch of dark cards left over from a purchase and some collecting of my own and my own stash. And I decided I'm just going to throw out on Cardsphere some spots that I needed to fill in. And when it gets close, I'll make 1 or 2 purchases. But the whole idea there was I have one. I don't need a second. It's totally for sale. So I will put it together and let that kind of build a little equity. And then I'll sell it probably to trade into something a little later down the line. Maybe something a little bit more expensive. Something, you know, like the whole set, total cost of the dark is not horribly expensive. But if I take that and add something else to it, then I can get a pretty decent card. Next, we have, and let's see, there's the pull tab, and I don't know what that is. That's a heavier tape than normal, but very nice. Thank you very much. Last video, I showed some of the Kamigawa Neon Dynasty foil lands that I'm collecting, and so I am getting close. You know, I'll probably pull all of those out when I get them and show you what I'm going to do with them because I want to. Oh man, look at that! Look at that island. It's just absolutely gorgeous. But I'm going to put them in a frame. I'm going to hang them up on the wall in my office. At least that's the intention. Just to kind of collect those. I do intend to one day create a game room just for playing Magic when the guys come over. And I would like to start collecting and framing things now so that I can put those things on the wall there in the future. But there we go. 2 foil lands. Next. All right, from Wookie Cookies. Thank you, AJ. Thank you, AJ. We have a couple cards in here. So we have, again, more Weatherlight. Abjure. So I think I put that one in because it's one of the earliest ones that I needed. This is for a deck. So Razor Tide Bridge. And I got it because it's an artifact land. It's a dual land. I know it comes with the play tap, but I was looking to get my artifact count a little higher. So we got 2 of those, just because if I collect those, I'm going to want to get 4 of just in case. Sojourner's Companion, again, 7 casting cost, 4/4, affinity for artifacts, and artifact land cycling. It's that second ability that he's really in the deck for. But yeah, that's an Urza Commander's deck, and I'm throwing that guy in because I like to be able to cycle and find some things. All right, so Commander. We have the Masters, the dual masters. Foil Island. I think that's one of the last ones I need for that particular set. We have another island for the Kamigawa Neon Dynasty and a swamp foil. So I'm getting real close on those. I will put them all together. And maybe I'll show off the frame when I get it. Okay, and moving on. More stuff. Again, thank you with the tab. Painter's tape is good too because it doesn't leave that residual and sticks together. Or doesn't leave extra. Doesn't rip as much. Okay, so we got here another dark card, Skull of Orm. So these are well, we'll say I'm pricing them competitively what I'll pay for them. So it's just people picking up 1 or 2 things here and there and sending them to me, but not necessarily my focus. And the last is, thanks for the postcard. Here we go. Reshape out of, is it Fifth Dawn? Can't remember, but Mirrodin block. And this is also for a commander deck. I just needed another artifact tutor to try to dig for some things. Let's take a look at the condition on this guy. Yeah, definitely in the more played, but I don't mind. Again, this one's not for the set. This one is, yeah, I got some rough edges there, but yeah. Reshape, 2 blue and X. As an additional cost to play Reshape, sacrifice an artifact, search your library for an artifact card with converted mana cost of X or less, and put it into play. Specifically, that part is what I like. So that's going into the deck to help search for some needed pieces. And there you go. That concludes the Card Sphere acquisitions for the month of September. Now let's get into what did I spend dollars on? Okay, so we'll leave that guy for last. We'll get to the bulk of the order. Thank you, TCG, for always protecting the cards. Oh, right off the top. All right, so obviously heavy commander acquisitions this month. Relic of Legends. Needed another mana rock, so it's 3 for add 1 of any color mana. There's a bunch in that category. Tap an untapped legendary creature you control. Add 1 mana of any color. So it has some additional ramp. Next, the Lotus Veil. So another big ticket item for this month would have been, I don't know, I think $30 or so. When Lotus Veil comes into play, sacrifice 2 untapped lands or bury Lotus Veil. Add 3 mana of any 1 color to your mana pool. Aisha Tanaka. 2 white, 2 blue from Legends. Banding, the Mighty Banding. 2/2. Tap her and artifact effect, which requires an activation cost, is countered unless its controller spends 1 white. This ability is played as an interrupt. So going into the Legends, we have Blight. Again, Legends. If target land becomes tapped, it is destroyed at the end of turn. And lastly, I have been waiting on this. So when I go back to the card I showed at the beginning, there's that schematic art. So I've decided I'm going to try to collect the whole entire set here. So this is Mox Amber, came from the Brothers War. They printed out, I believe it was like 52, 56, somewhere in that range, maybe 53 artifacts from over a broad range of decks. And they gave them a retro treatment, but they also gave them the schematic art treatment. So it's the same card. It's just, it looks like, again, that Leonardo da Vinci art style. The wizard is designing it. I don't know. It speaks to me. I like it. So I am looking for completing the whole entire set. So that means I'm doing now Weatherlight, Legends, and I'm doing this guy each month. So that's going to kind of eat into how fast I'm putting these sets together. But I wanted to get the foil treatment, the schematic, the retro frame, and this is the #1 card. So I start at the top and I work down for the most part. As you've seen with Weatherlight, I've been working on that. Legends, you can't really do that because not everybody can just go run out and buy a Tabernacle. You got to have deep pockets, but one day we'll trade into that. That's that whole like putting together sets and then selling off those to buy big pieces like that. So I think, you know, what I'll probably end up doing is eventually when I get close, I'll actively try to complete a 3rd edition set, sell the whole thing, and then roll myself into that card. But until then, you just got to get what you can afford in your budget. And lastly, again, this is the TCG. This is the bulk of the purchase. Again, with this, at least they gave a tab. By accident or by design. There we go. So it's going to be Legends or it's going to be Weatherlight, right? And there it is, Scorched Ruins. So we got the Lotus Veil and the Scorched Ruins. I do believe I have the top 3. If not, I have 3 of the top 4 at this point. When Scorched Ruins comes into play, sacrifice 2 untapped lands or bury Scorched Ruins. Tap and add 4 colorless to your mana pool. I love that ramp. I love both of those. It looks like I'm. It's on the sleeve. So good, nice, decent condition. But anyways, that's what I'm putting together. I'm gonna go add this to my collection, catalog it, and I do have the Mirage Visions and Weatherlight. So I'll show off what I've got in Weatherlight next month. It's kind of sparse at this point in time just because I've been hitting those expensive cards instead of trying to grab a whole bunch of little stuff. But generally my strategy is to start with the most expensive and get further down, because then there will be those months where I want to spend $100 on just one card, and I can still get 20, 30, 40 cards if they're all just the commons, and spend that last 50 bucks on picking those things up. So I hope this was entertaining. I'm glad that you are here to enjoy it with me. Let me know what you're collecting. I'm very interested to hear that, and we'll see you in the next one. Thanks so much.